He was the most feared wizard of all time. His name became taboo, but he was not born a monster. He was a boy, abandoned, brilliant, and broken. This is the full timeline of Tom Riddle, the rise and fall of Lord Voldemort. Tom Marvolo Riddle was born on December 31st, 1926. His mother, Merope Gaunt, a descendant of Salazar Slytherin, died shortly after childbirth. His father, Tom Riddle Sr., had abandoned her when the effects of a love potion wore off. And so, Tom was raised in Wool's orphanage in London, alone, unloved, and angry. Even before Hogwarts, strange things happened around him. He could speak to snakes. He could move objects without touching them. But rather than fear it, he enjoyed it. He used magic to frighten, to control, to punish. At the age of 11, he met Professor Dumbledore. A new world opened to him, one where magic meant power. At Hogwarts, Tom was sorted into Slytherin House. He was charming, brilliant, manipulative, and he quickly became a favorite among teachers. But underneath the perfect student was a boy obsessed with his bloodline, with death, and with immortality. In 1943, he opened the Chamber of Secrets and unleashed the basilisk. A girl died, Myrtle Warren. Tom blamed another student, Rubeus Hagrid, and received an award for special services to the school. It was the perfect crime, and it wouldn't be his last. By the time he left Hogwarts in 1945, Tom Riddle was no longer just a boy. He had already begun transforming into something else. He had already begun his dark path to become Lord Voldemort. After leaving Hogwarts, Tom vanished. For years, his name faded from public memory. But in secret, he was traveling the world, seeking dark knowledge, forbidden spells, and artifacts of great power. He began creating Horcruxes, magical objects that store a piece of the soul. But to make a Horcrux, one must first commit murder. Voldemort murdered, repeatedly, and with each killing he fractured his soul further. His first Horcrux was his diary. Then came the Gaunt family ring. Later he stole Hufflepuff's cup, Slytherin's locket, Ravenclaw's diadem, and finally used his snake, Nagini. By the 1970s, Voldemort had created 6 Horcruxes, making himself nearly immortal. He returned to Britain with a new name, a new face, and a growing army of followers. The Death Eaters, witches and wizards who served him out of fear or fanaticism. And then came the First Wizarding War. The Ministry was powerless. Dumbledore was the only one he feared, but even he couldn't stop the chaos. Families were torn apart, Muggle-borns were targeted, the dark mark filled the sky. Then came the prophecy. A child would be born, with the power to defeat the Dark Lord. Voldemort believed the child was Harry Potter. On October 31st, 1981, he went to Godric's Hollow. He murdered James and Lily Potter. But when he turned his wand on their infant son, the curse rebounded. Voldemort's body was destroyed. His soul, torn and unstable, fled. Unknowingly, a fragment of his soul latched onto Harry himself, making Harry an accidental Horcrux. Weak, broken, and less than a ghost. For years, Voldemort existed only as a shadow, wandering forests, possessing animals, clinging to life through dark magic. He hid in Albania, feeding on snakes and small creatures, waiting, watching. In 1991, he briefly returned, parasitically attached to Professor Quirrell. But, once again, he was defeated by Harry Potter. Then, in 1995, everything changed. In the graveyard outside Little Hangleton, a terrible ritual was performed. Using the blood of Harry, the bone of his father, and the flesh of a servant, Voldemort was reborn, no longer a phantom, but whole, and more powerful than ever before. That night, he declared the return of the Dark Lord. The Ministry denied it. The Daily Prophet called it hysteria. But Dumbledore knew the truth. Over the next 2 years, the Second Wizarding War consumed the magical world. Voldemort infiltrated the Ministry of Magic. He installed fear, control, and silence. But behind the scenes, Harry Potter and his friends were destroying his Horcruxes. One by one, the pieces of his soul were shattered. And then came the final battle. Hogwarts, 1998. His forces met the defenders of the school. Friends were lost. Heroes rose. Sacrifices were made. And in the end, as Voldemort cast the killing curse once more, his wand refused him. His curse rebounded. And Tom Riddle, the boy who feared death above all, finally died. This was the timeline of Lord Voldemort, a boy twisted by pain, a man consumed by fear, and a tyrant brought down by love. What do you think was his greatest mistake?